Hello, everybody. This is kind of a pop-up. I've done Monday afternoon pop-ups several times in the last 2 months. So we'll have folks drop in and drop out. And I'm working on my camera setup. I wonder why I have a black screen. One moment, please. I'm going to have to reset this. I'm getting a black screen. Oh, wait. No, there it goes. Ooh. Hi. How is everybody today? Let me see what this looks like. Okay. I see a few watching. Hello, hello. I am on to Pastel, which is, I'm picking encaustic off my apron. I would wash it. I'm afraid it would completely confuse my washing machine. Anyway, like I have promised, I am on to Pastel. And this little thing was done over the weekend. And I thought I had filmed it. But I hadn't for some reason. Love technology. And I noticed her chin needed just a little bit more right in there. Actually, I think that I'm not going to mess with it too much. Because that's real close. Hey, who's here? Susan. Hi, Susan. I am well. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It was a glitch, I guess, at YouTube. I'm trying to give you all as close to what I see as I can. And the camera obviously can't sit in front of my eyes. for obvious reasons that I couldn't see. So it's up about this far from my head, which is giving y'all a little bit of a skew. Askew. And she's also trying to fall off. That's a pretty good angle. Now you can see my hands, there's not a whole lot of shadow going on. So, did you have a nice weekend, Susan? I hope so. It takes time to switch gears with mediums. I never did know how to say that right. Mediums. We don't know. We don't want that on there. Get rid of stuff from the weekend. Okay, now I've got y'all up here. Oh, I just asked if you had a good weekend. I'm going to go in just a little bit. Just trying to get this the best view for you guys that I can. And it's skewed, of course, because it's not dead center. No, I think it was better before. Excuse me while I play with this. Okay, leave it alone. That's kind of a balance between. So anyway, y'all are going to see it skewed. I didn't. Well, it got close. I talk like that. Oh, shoot. I'm looking for a picture here. So bear with me. I hope you've got something to work on. I'm here. Just take it a little. I spent all day Friday working on organizing pictures. And I made a big I made big progress. And I've got one lost right now. So hang on, let me find it. I'm getting close. Hang with me. Come on now. It would be a whole lot easier if I totally understood. There it is. Max new or fairly new. I always use the professional aperture, and then they switched to photos, and then I retired from graphic design, and then I lost track of, and I just kept throwing pictures in folders, which isn't a smart thing to do. Oh, cool. You must live in a place where there's some good stuff. Now, that's not going to be good if you get it with your head. Okay. Now, for anybody that comes in late, I'm just going to move this little baby. Right here. Oh, shoot. I forgot to get my clear gesso. Hang on 1 second. I'll get it all together here in a minute. Should have seen me Saturday. It was wild. Hang on. It'll come right back. I accidentally. All right. Okay, now on in a brush. That'll work. A Princeton Select. Hi, Safia. Oh, I know. I love getting packages. I've been I haven't been able to do that in a while. I'm doing something real dangerous. This isn't my mixed media area. This is my pastel area. Gonna take more than that. This is clear gesso, and I'm using it in place of a pastel ground because it has quite a bit of grit, and watercolor paper has a rough texture. So it works. Did you have a good weekend, Safia? Sophia? Why can I not remember? Sophia. I think I got it. Alrighty. Now, wipe my fingers. Wet wipes are indispensable in a studio. And I've been using the dollar ones from Dollar Tree to test them and see how they work. They're not quite as thick as the ones that I bought from Amazon, but for $1 as opposed to $2.50. And you know, there's other things to consider, but all right, let me see who's going on in here. Okay, I'm going back. I'm gonna catch y'all's. Okay, got the crucifixes. Sophia, okay, let me start. Number one, my work is vertical. Okay. I never, ever work with it. Let's see if I can straighten that just a little. I never work with my pastel like face down. And I've got, let me show you without changing things too much. This strip of metal right here is flashing from a hardware store that they use in putting roofs on. And I've got two of those sitting inside each other. So I've got a little trough that catches all the dust. Now get this back up. That's about as good as it's going to get. So my dust is minimal. I don't blow on it, which puts it in the air. But basically, it just falls right down in there. Okay, so the next question was fixative. I use a fixative on rare occasions, and usually it is for a technique. And I use the casein mixture Spectrafix in an aerosol can. I buy it in a 4 or 5 ounce concentrated bottle. It is the best on the market as far as not changing color. However, all of the light colors will disappear when you spray fixative. The most expensive white pastels don't have much chalk, and chalk is what liquefies, it just turns clear. Okay, so the least expensive white pastels use a lot of chalk, so they're going to disappear faster. But almost in every case, you're going to have your light colors disappear. Because pastels are framed behind glass, they don't need to be fixative because they're not in any danger of stuff falling off. And if you're using a good pastel paper, there's another third key there. If you're using a paper that was not intended for pastel, like mixed media paper, untreated watercolor paper, or uncoated, Canson Métints, which is a pastel paper that was it's designed for pastel. One side has a little bit of a texture pattern, the other side doesn't. That will grab 3 or 4 layers of pastel, but the modern papers and using gesso and grounds will catch 90% of the pastel. So it's not going anywhere. So let's say you were painting flat and you were using a journal or a mixed media book and you're blowing on your pastel, you're going to create a fog of it around you. I don't get any fog here. Most of it sticks to the surface and then the rest of it drops down. Yeah, it is a good point. And the paper that grabs. Believe me, I've tried everything I know to be able to work in my mixed media corner on mixed media paper and in journals. And what I've mostly done is take the page of the journal and put a coat of clear gesso. And that gives that page. But then you got to figure out a way to raise that journal book vertical, which is kind of hard to do. So does that answer your questions a little? I'm waiting on this to dry, so. And I use fixative so rarely that I've had this can of Krylon workable fixative for 10 or 12 years. You are quite welcome. I would like to see you try it again and see if it bothers you. I know quite a few pastel artists who put one of the inexpensive breathing masks over their face. I know a lot of pastel artists who have a ventilation system that hooks on the back of their easel and just kind of vacuums the air, but I really don't have much. Now, if I had asthma, I might notice it more, but I don't. So good paper and vertical, and don't blow. I do blow sometimes. But like I said, I use fixative. If I want to make if I'm like painting a field of wildflowers or something, I may want that field to just be as dark as soot and dirt. And what I'll do is put dark colors on there and then spray it with the fixative, which liquefies it. And then I'll do it again and again. And that is a technique. And then come paint on top of it. And you can see back into the dirt, like the field, like you were looking at it from horizontal. And I like that tactic. I like it a lot. And I have been promising this for a while. I see people buying pan pastels for $5-6 a pop for colors, and there's, let's see, 4 times 16. What's 4 times 16? 24, 64. 64 colors plus some iridescents and golds and silvers, metallics. Which incidentally, I found mine the other day. They were just sitting there all screwed together. So anyway, you will never get a good result from a pastel, pen pastel, or any kind of pastel on smooth drawing paper. It will not happen, I promise you. And so that's another reason why I'm starting to demonstrate how these supplies, what they were designed for, and what to do if you do want to use them. I had some alcohol down there from the other day. If you do want to use them in your journal work. And the other thing I've done before is to keep from fixing it is I will put a sheet of glassine on top of that page in the journal or in front of it, so I can tape it to the gully of the book, and then that sheet of glassine will protect the pastel from rubbing, because a journal page, the pages are always going to do this and rub because of the binding is not that tight. So if you can protect it from that, then, and you've made a good painting or drawing or something with your clear gesso, it will work. And last week I experimented a little, not much, with eyeshadows, because they are made from a really good pigment. Because they have to meet certain governmental standards. I just wiped my mouth with my dirty pastel towel. I keep one of these on my lap. And I also keep a wet wipe or a dry cloth in my hand. And when I pick a pastel up, like this one was used quite a bit over the weekend, I'll just clean it as I'm using it, or just wipe it across my towel. And that's all I do to clean them. So that is my process. I love getting my hands dirty. Doesn't bother me at all. If that bothers you, I can't get to it right this second. Gloves in a bottle is good, and that's just a barrier cream. And Winsor & Newton has a beautiful one for that purpose, and it's actually a little bit less expensive than the gloves in a bottle. I'm looking and y'all are seeing flash out. That's better. Should be better. Let's see. Are you dry yet? And I've had people tell me they don't really like the sound of the pastels. And I never even noticed that much until I was playing back a little bit of video. And I could tell. But, you know, it's just, that doesn't bother me. Duct tape. Because I usually paint all the way to the edges. And this will hold it. Just fine. The face that I did, I don't know if you saw it, Sophia. Sophia, damn it. This is a pastel board by Ampersand. I love working on them. They're a perfect surface. The coating is on a piece of hardboard panel. And I did a quickie demonstration one day and used the Spectrafix fixative and just popped it back here, you know, thinking, okay, I'll use that again someday. Because the sanded papers can, I mean, you can almost have one sheet of a sanded surface and wash it off and reuse it a lot, many times. So anyway, I thought, okay, I'll get that out and I'll get some alcohol and wash it off and let all that color drip and mingle. I couldn't get it to move. So that's what's underneath this painting. And that tells me that the Spectrafix is really pretty good. So, well, I mean, I knew that anyway, but. Oh, hey, Arlene. Yeah, I hope you do come back. I think I missed saying hello to you. So I'm so sorry. Come back, please. Come back. Alrighty, and like we talked, still futzing around with the camera. I probably got 8 hours in that little portrait. And it's looks like an 8 by 10. All right, not touching it. I've got it as close to being in front of my eyes as I can get it. And I found part of my soft tools, but I didn't find them all. I'm just going to kind of do a tree, oh yeah, that's dry enough. Now this background was done last winter when I was playing with ice. So I took all these papers outside and poured paint on them and then left them to freeze. So I've got quite a few of these. Pan pastels. When I started pen pastels, started playing with them, I gave up everything else. I didn't work in acrylics or watercolor or anything because I loved these. I really want that color to be brighter, but I'll have to get into my sticks for that. I'm just playing with the background here, and I've got to get into that. Do that. This is the color that I really want. This is a Terry Ludwig soft pastel, very soft. It's almost decadent in your hand. As far as blending goes, the only time you'll see me blend is if I want to, in this case, I want to get the pastel down in the crevices of the watercolor paper. But you will never see me take two colors side by side and just do this. Because what you end up with is a dirty mixture of this one and this one. I much prefer, if I want to blend that, to just do a light glaze on top of the darker one. And I can get a much prettier, more vibrant, it vibrates because you can see through the top one to the bottom one. So that's another little lesson there. And you don't do this very much on sanded paper because I have been known to make my fingers bleed. See how much that brighter color yells at you? I'm going to try to look at chat more because I have not done this before like this. So I'm looking. Yeah, you would, because some of that sandpaper is very aggressive. It is sandpaper. I mean, come on. One of the, in the early days of the pastel revolution that was started by my friend Urena Christie Tarbett, the paper that they used then was a sandpaper. It came from Germany, and it was an industrial product. Yeah, I'm going to stick with pan pastels when I can. And y'all know I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with pan pastels. Here's a lighter Terry Ludwig. Cheap Joe's is carrying Terry Ludwig now. Good friends of mine. Use the sides. I sure do like clear gesso as a ground. I need to keep these colors out. I'm looking at a tray full of about, I don't know, 3,000-4,000. Little different. Pastel being a dry medium means that you can't mix colors. The only thing you can do is an optical illusion, which is what the Impressionists did. And you can put colors on top of each other, which will alter both of them visually, but they don't cover each other up. Keep all these greens separate from the pack where everything else lives. And you just kind of feel your way around. But so far, these are the colors that I've used in addition to the pan pastels. And the colors may just vary a little bit from each other. That top one showing as a cream, but it's really a bright green. Now I need a I need a bright in your face green. And see, once I've got my first layer in the grain of the paper, I don't have to do that much anymore as far as getting my hand in it. Now I need sort of a blue-green. Maybe a little more of a blue-green. Terry Ludwig again. I'm going to move these greens because I've got to move trays if I'm going to stay up there. Okay. There. Stay. These are difficult for me because the trays have to continuously be moved. And pastel again. Oh, I was going to look at chat. Hey, Azure. I'm going to put a tree on it. Kind of a landscape. Who was that said about Margaret Evans? Sophia. Yeah. Margaret is a good friend of mine. She is classically trained in the school of, I think it's Glasgow Fine Arts. And in that world, when you before you can call yourself an artist, you have to be proficient in every medium. Margaret is equally at home in watercolor and pastel, and sometimes oil, but most often pastel. In fact, she was one of my teachers when I did my first online teaching course in 2009. If you want to look up another good one, let me type her name in because you'll never. Okay. There it goes. And Lynn is from Australia, and she is a hyper realist. Her pictures look like photographs. And since this is my own channel, I can talk about the people that I know and have studied with. I was in a group of folks who didn't like it. They thought I was bragging. So there you have it. Okay, now let's do a little bit of just touch some dark. I could tell you stories all day long. Lynn paints gorgeous flowers. In fact, I've got some classes of hers that I could bring out and not really resubmit because they were they've never been released. Okay. We are cooking, baby dolls. The damn thing keeps falling. Now you would never know that I've used 10 different greens. Let me retrieve that stick that fell. Ready to go. Okay. Let's get serious about this. I pulled up a butcher tray, which is what I usually use for the colors I've pulled. All right. Woo. I'm just creating a background for a portrait of a tree. And I can come back to this, or will come back to this. All right, let me see if y'all have asked me anything. These are people just like you and me. And you can learn a lot by looking at other people's work. And y'all aren't getting a full picture of the vibrancy yet. I tell you what I could do, though. I bet I can take a picture for Instagram. How about that? I can do that. Okay. There we go. There's the actual color. I do that, Sophia. Picasso made a statement when he was in his younger years that it took him 5 years to learn to paint like it's right on the tip of my tongue. Slurp. Let's just say, for lack of a better word, because I can't remember his name. I've got old timers. Let's just say Leonardo. It took me 4 years to learn to paint like him, and a lifetime to learn to paint as a child. Alrighty. Now I'm gonna go back to the. We'll go back to the pans. And I'm going to start painting my tree. I'm using purple for no other reason than a can. I don't like everybody I come in contact with. It has to speak to me in a almost a visceral way. You can't always explain it. Don't have to. This is just laying the foundation for this. Okay, there's our skeleton. Oops. And I'm going to make that upper trunk. Looks like we're looking at a sequoia. Bring that up a little bit. That's a little better. I paint with the idea that as long as two colors are the same value, and that means the same amount of darkness, that I can use that in the same space. In other words, just because a tree looks like it's dark brown doesn't mean it has to be dark brown. It can be dark red, it can be dark blue, dark purple, any color that I choose to use. And I'm coming at this darks first. Build up dark to light. Okay. Everybody still there? A little bit bright blue. I just use whatever color I feel like using, as long as it's in the same value. A little bit teal. Who else have you looked up, Sophia? Another good one to look up is a fella named Richard McKinley. A little dark red. And another reason that I don't care for pan pastels that much for this kind of work is that they tend to cover everything that's under them. And where I want to make every stroke that I make visible. Which means I'm about ready to start with the sticks. Okay. Those are just so in my way. I can make much smaller marks. This happens to be a Terry Ludwig. Okay, we'll check on you. No, I'm not. I'm just kind of doing a tree. It's a kind of a generic tree. I wish I had a source picture to show you. Trees are kind of inanimate objects, so they're easy to paint from your imagination. A whole lot easier than painting people. And I kind of let the background of the original watercolor give me hints on what to do too. It's real funny. I had the discussion with somebody a couple of weeks ago that they weren't happy seeing the source photo. They just wanted to see the painting. So it's kind of hard to please everybody. So I just do what I want to do. Because you can't get up close anyway. I mean, my hand's in the way of a lot of this because of the way the camera's set up. Okay, that's I'm kind of into my mid-tones now. And if you study trees outside, you pretty well get an idea of what they're supposed to do. You know, big trunk splits off and then it gets smaller, splits off. Did y'all go over to Instagram and see that picture I posted? That edge will disappear. Might as well do it now. This is a unison. This is just abstracted. I mean, you don't see a forest that looks like that. When I was sorting pictures the other day, I came across a painting of a tree I had done on the grounds of the Crystal Bridges Museum, which is right here in Bentonville. Makes me want to go plein air painting again. But the prime times to do that are before 10 o'clock in the morning or about 5 or 6 o'clock at night because of light. This was in a forest type setting. I mean, it's a forest for me, but complete forest canopy, so I haven't quite got all that tooth filled up yet on the watercolor paper. Just taking my time. Excuse me. I finished my Slim Fast, so drank what's left of my coffee. It's a little bit of green for showing moss and stuff. Actually, just a little bit brighter. Maybe not that bright. And this is definitely a unison. See how big and round it is? Now we're beginning to get some good mark making. Another Terry Ludwig. Okay, back to you. Any questions? Hey, Wendy. I am painting pastels today. Another little handmade pastel. And you know how I always say, the mark of a good painting is if it's hanging in a gallery or anywhere, and you view it from across the room and you see the value pattern, which is the light and dark. And that's what draws you into it to look at it closer. And when you get closer to it, it's when you see all these little colors. There's a real dark green. And I'm going to use some of that up here. And this tree is either winter or it's a dying tree. I'm getting into the zone. Forgive me for being quiet. This is a harder pastel. I can control the kind of lines I want better. And as the tree branches out, the limbs get a little smaller and smaller. I'm looking for something. I like to paint these kind of trees in oil because you can use your palette knife for a lot of the little limsy pieces. And there are no two trees alike in nature, so oh, excuse me. This is a Holbein. It's a very hard pastel, which is perfect for making little lines and for helping blend two other colors together. I'm about ready to start putting some lights on. I come back to that one. Okay. Here's a nice little unison that's kind of a creamy. I don't want to jump right into my lightest lights and build up to them. I'm not sure this is any lighter. Yeah. Excuse me, my tummy gurgled. Sonoye, very soft. Not much, just a little. All right. It's on watercolor paper that had a watercolor background I created in Night Storm last year. And then I put a coat of clear gesso and started with pan pastels as long as it didn't start covering up what was under it. Pan pastels will do that, where hard sticks or stick pastels will allow you to make these little bitty marks through here without covering up everything that's under it. So then I switched to my stick pastels after a bit. So I'm just working my way around it now. The variety of color is what makes something like this interesting. And what I'm doing is working on. See, these trays just get in my way, damn it. Working on getting these branches to appear all over the tree. I mean, so like this one's attached a little bit here to the front, and that one's a little bit more coming out the backside. Let's bring this one out here. And we'll let that one be to the back. Okay. I see some good newsletters back here. They kind of get hidden. There's kind of a balance between soft and hard, because soft will completely eradicate what's underneath it. I want to get some good darks up here, because that's where my front branch will show. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the little branch that just all kinds of funny curves. And that's really too soft. I haven't quite got my chair adjusted just right. Makes my shoulder hurt. Maybe this will help. That looks like a white bun. And that's too hard. All right. Now, I'm not sure I can get in here with the tool. Maybe. And the way you narrow a line is by putting it down and then coming back with something else and cutting in on the edges. Cleans it up. Okay, these aren't working out. Bringing it to life now. Oops. Now you can only go so white with white. That's when a light yellow comes into play. Sorry, I'm hitting the cord. That's another unison. Ooh, yellow, yellow. Don't want yellow, yellow. This is a softer, almost white. I'll let my arm rest a minute. Alrighty, now I need to act like there's a little bit of green. Oops. I forgot to plug my phone in. I wonder why I whisper when I'm doing this. Hey, Lynn. Hi, Lisa. Back, Susan. What are we talking about on Cheap Joe's, Sophia? I think I'm going to take. Did y'all like seeing an Instagram picture? I'm sending another one your way. Okay, there it goes. Well, thank you, Sophia. Okay, I just sent it Instagram so you can see a little bit more about what I'm seeing. Now I'm cutting back in on some of these branches to make them a little more believable. I'm almost done, which is a good thing because I can't see my sticks. That's better. It's an illusion. We'll have to do some more of these ice things. Just looking. Okay, I don't want my branches touching the top edge unless they're very blurred. That was a big chunk, Sophia, that went down in the tray. And I will been promising that too. I'm going to cover some of these because in real life they're broken. Hmm. There's a lot of texture on the watercolor paper, so you have to decide if that's what you want. I think that I have said about all I have to say. Y'all have any questions? Thank you, Sophia. Yeah, and I like the way you can see that dark blue. That's fun. Well, spread the word, Miss Sophia. I need some more people who are interested in. Oh, hi, Robbie. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm kind of stepping out of the, um, not stepping out, but just this is what I really do is paint. And I love my mixed media. I love my journals, but I have kind of neglected my painting. I'm looking for a soft white. And that is a soft one. And anytime y'all have any questions, don't hesitate to private message me. Azure sends me some good stuff. Restate things. Looking for anything that might jump out at me. Boy, that one is harder than a brickbat. My focal area seems to be right in here. So if I darken judiciously right in here, now come back in with that soft white, it will show up more. And the same thing on the other side, if I come in with a real pale, I've just about gotten all that this paper's going to take. Real pale, and then come back in here with a dark. That'll show up better. Get a chunky bark. Hi, tree. Excuse me. I'm at the point now where it doesn't really matter what color I pick up. Put a little more purple. I think I'm done. I'm diddling now. Thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed your pastel lesson. And I see something else over here I don't like. This is way too thick. Minor details. This is when Lynn Wessel usually comes in and says, "Step away from the painting." I think that's good. All right, guys, I will put a final picture on. Oh, wait, I got to sign it. What are you going to sign it with? I know. Let's use this rusty colored Sennelier. Oh, now to do. Well, I just blew it. I told Sophia I never blow. No, actually, what I told her was I do blow. Well, that's okay until tomorrow. If I decide I don't like it, I can change it. And I don't think I like it. Okay, now. Can't draw it straight to save my life. It's time to quit. I've been here all afternoon. Okay. All right, I'm going to take a picture of it, and then I will. Boy, we're getting way dark over there, aren't we? I'll see you guys next time, maybe tomorrow. Okay, bye. I love you. Please subscribe and like and invite folks if you want to share me. So, okay, see ya.